red flag that I see in a guy is having a mom, and even worse, having a sister.
Damn, you want me to be an orphan? Well, unfortunately, I have both a mom and a sister.
Oh, wow. Do you have any aunts?
3.
Wow. Is your grandma still alive?
One of them's gone. Yeah, the other one's still here.
All right.
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. You know what they never tell you as a content creator is when you're 2 minutes into a video, you pause it because I forgot to load another video. I pull it over, I get it all where I wanted to in the lineup. I unpause, I talk for another 24 minutes, and then I look down and see my video is still paused. And so I was talking to myself for 22 out of the last 24 minutes. So this is round number 2 of attempting this stupid video. Women are paralyzed in fear over their dating futures. Something interesting is happening now, and it's becoming more and more kind of mainstream, I guess you would say, where the talking points that men's communities have been talking about for the last, 10, 20 years, over time, the men's spaces have slowly been growing, kind of filling in the gaps. And it's getting into the zeitgeist and getting out onto, in the web. It's getting out to media. It's getting out to mainstream. Now, you can say, people like Andrew Tate and things like that have helped push it for sure. But there's a lot of smaller channels that over time, guys kind of find this area of the web and they say, yeah, I kind of see what you're talking about. I agree with it. I may not agree with all your points. I may think that, some of the data that we pick or pull may be a little bit cherry picked that shows our view of things. But that's getting out there. And now women are starting to realize that men are seeing it. And women realize they're going to have a lot of struggles ahead of them. Not just in the work world, not just in general, because the mainstream media still protects them, of course, more than they ever have before. But the fact that women being awful is kind of getting out there. And so no matter how much the media and social media and things like that push men being awful, the fact is when a guy's awful on the internet, he's banned, he's removed, or shadow banned, he's demonetized. They do something to shut that person up. But when women are doing awful things, they celebrate and cheer it. And there's a problem with that in that women that want the attention, women that want the views, women that want the clicks and the likes, they start going more and more awful to get more attention. And as that happens, normies or everyday guys are starting to see this stuff and they're going, holy cow, I do not want to be a part of this. The first example I have of this, I've got several video clips that we're going to talk about today. Quentin Rampage Jackson is now talking. Now, if you don't know who he is, he's an MMA, he's an actor. I think he's a former UFC heavyweight champion. Quentin Rampage Jackson was interviewed, and he's talking about his son dating. I'm going to share this with you, and then we'll talk about it.
I got a son, 23 years old, and he has no riz. I hooked him up on a blind date with a wonderful girl. See, what people don't understand is that right now we're going through hoeflation. So it's harder to get a good girl. It's harder to find good girls, especially with OnlyFans. All the girls are like prostitutes and porn stars now. And my son, he's a part of me, and I want him to have a good girl. So I found a good girl. Been looking for her. So I wanted to bring back arranged marriages type thing. So.
Well, what he is saying is a billion miles away from what my father taught me. It's basically a generation, because he's about my age, roughly. I don't know, but he's probably later 40s, I think, maybe early 50s. I didn't look it up. My father taught me that, hey, you're going to get a girlfriend, and one day you're going to get married, and whether you have kids or not, you're going to make her a comfortable life and provide her a home and make her life as easy as possible. So if she does or doesn't want to work, that she has that choice. If she wants to go to school, if she wants to be stay at home, whatever. That's what your job as a man is. That's the lesson my father taught me. And it's the lesson that my father's generation, which would probably be the boomers, was teaching Generation X. Now Generation X is coming forward, at least the men in the space that are still involved in their sons' lives, because God knows how many women take kids away from the fathers. These men now are teaching their sons, hey, hoeflation. These women are on Only Fools, or Lonely Fans is they wrote over this one. These women are doing crazy stuff, and you got to avoid that. You got to look for a good woman. And it's tough because of hoeflation. That's the lesson that a lot of Gen X is teaching these younger guys and these younger girls out there. Whether the younger girls listen or not is another thing. But he's teaching his son, hey, be careful out there. The message in just one generation, from boomers to X and X to Gen Z or Gen Alpha or whatever the next one is being taught, is miles apart. And when you have somebody that's in MMA and that is on TV and that is doing interviews and that is out there talking about these talking points, it does show you the proliferation of this information, and these women acting horribly is leaking out into the mainstream. And as women realize that, they fight back with more crazy. Instead of listening and letting off the gas a little bit and saying, hey, we better straighten up, they come out and double and triple and quadruple down on the crazy. And here's a good example. Now, this gal looks to be probably mid-20s, maybe later 20s. She looks like, all of them look like they've probably had some plastic or lip fillers and all the other things that people are doing now in their 20s. And if a man came out and said what this woman says, he would be shamed, ridiculed, he'd be called toxic. It doesn't mean that the man doesn't do it anymore. It just means he doesn't post it on social media for all the world to see that he's absolutely crazy, or, that he's going out there doing this stuff. But because women are allowed to do it and they're cheered on for it, they're allowed to post this everywhere, and everybody goes, oh, stunning and brave. All the other women say stunning and brave. All the male feminists, all the crazy wackadoo lefts. Oh, this is empowering. This is great. But kind of normie guys, and I would say even true liberal guys and conservative guys and guys that want any type of a meaningful relationship with a woman see this and they run for the hills. When we talk about not letting a woman go out to the club at night, because we know what happens to club girls, even if she's your girlfriend and it's just a ladies' night out, we know what happens. And then we say, hey, you know what? If she wants to take a vacation to Spain with her girlfriends for a couple of weeks, don't let her do that. Why? Because we know what happens. And how do we know what happens? Because women are posting videos about it. There was another video that went viral, and I forgot to save it, and I can't find it anymore, about a guy, and he is he takes his clothes off and dances for money doing bridal events. And he said a lot of the guys there are gay. A lot of the dancers there. But he said there's plenty of us that aren't. And he said, let me tell you, 80 to 90% of these bridal parties, one of these girls is getting laid by one of those dancers. And in many cases, it's the bride, because it's her last day of freedom. He's sharing this stuff. But then women say, well, that's a guy saying that. How can you believe them? Okay, so let's hear from a woman that went on an Uber ride, and I'm not going to share anymore. What happens when a woman says, I'm going to the club? Bad. I'm going on vacation? Bad. What happens if she just says, I took an Uber to the airport, or I took an Uber to visit my family? You'd never think, well, I'm not going to let my girlfriend go on an Uber ride anymore. Why not?
One time I went and had an Uber pick me up. He was super hot. So I was like, hey, do you want to have sex? And he pulled over and he was like, totally, right? And then he sucked, right? He sucked.
He was scared.
So I got out of the vehicle and then I complained and was like, so I wouldn't have to pay. So then this other Uber driver pulls up, and then I tell him about the experience, and I'm like, I just fucked my last Uber driver, and he was so shitty. I had to cancel. I didn't say some bullshit happened, so I didn't have to pay. And this guy's like, okay, cool. Well, do you want to give me a blowjob? And I was like, okay, sure, why not? And then I give him a blowjob all the way from LA to Huntington Beach. It was a really fucking long time.
That's an hour.
Yeah, there's a long blowjob. There was a long blowjob. And then I got out of the car and he's like, don't worry, I won't charge you. And then the motherfucking charged me.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was the last time I fucked an Uber driver. I was like, y'all fuckers.
Wait, you ruined it.
What were you getting?
One time.
The last sentence she says, what were you getting out of it? Who cares what she was getting out of it? The fact is she did it. So there's this dichotomy of realities. Women from one side of their face say, don't objectify me. Don't just base your opinion of me on my looks or the fact that I sleep with you, or you need to respect me as a woman for my brain and for my talent and for all the good things about me. And if you don't, I'm going to shame you. And then on the other side of their mouth, they say things like this, which is, the first driver, I slept with him because he was hot and he wasn't any good. Well, why would he be good? He probably wanted to get it done with. I mean, he was having a good time, I'm sure. I don't think she's the type of woman, I'm guessing, that walks around with protection. I bet you the Uber driver wasn't expecting he'd need protection during his shift. So what are the odds that she let some strange hot Uber guy raw dog it? I'm probably saying like 80%. Then when that didn't happen, the next driver, she tells this story to him because obviously she's not shamed. She has no shame. So she's going to tell this story to another complete strange Uber driver. And because he sees her as low value, easy opportunity, and just a thing to be enjoyed, he goes ahead and asks for it, for a Hummer, and she says, sure. And then he says he's not going to charge her. He pulls off and charges her. How can women have both things at once? How can they be respected and desired and wanted to be treated well and have a traditional man, and in the same time they come out and do this kind of thing? They can't have both. But the problem that they're having is that they act one way, the bad way, and then demand that men treat them well. The two are not going to exist. Ironically, feminism says the same thing. They say, we want to be free, we want to be independent, we want to do our own thing, we want to have all the things, but also, if we want to sleep with people for money, and we want to be on Only Fools, and we want to do these other things, you have to respect that. And that's what they say, without realizing that men do not have to respect that. As a matter of fact, men aren't going to respect that. Because you can't, respect is something you can't demand. You know, I do all these videos for you guys, and a lot of you, either message me over on the Gilded server that we have on Locals, or you email me, whatever. And I hear from a lot of you guys say, hey, I appreciate the help. I respect what you're doing. And I'm glad you put this content out because it's fun and it shows us all the craziness out there. You can respect somebody for what they do. But if I sat down one day and said, you guys, and slamming the table, saying you guys are sending me, I don't know, emails, calling me names or whatever it is, and I say, you need to respect what I do. The minute that I say you need to respect what I do, anybody that might have respected me loses respect. That's how respect works. You can't ask for it, you can't demand it, and you can't say you deserve it. You have to earn it. And what women are doing is they're doing the opposite. They're not earning men's respect. They're not earning men's desires to provide for them and care for them and love them. They're earning men's desires sexually and to sleep with them and to maybe see them with no clothes on the internet. But outside of that, women are ruining it for themselves. And so as they age and they realize their value as just whatever that it is that they are, which right now is exceedingly easy for the top 10% of men, they realize that at a certain point, this is all going to come to an end. And what's the point of being over 30 anymore because no one wants me and no one pays attention to me? And that's actually an article I'm going to be reading from here. And we're going to do this at the end. Gen Z paralyzed with fear of turning 30, becoming unattractive hags. Life might as well end at 22. And where's that coming from? It's coming from this. Because as much as women say we're powerful and you need to respect us and all the things, the only way they're really able to get men's attention now is with their looks and with their sexuality. Because outside of that, they're not bringing anything else to the table. They've got nothing else to offer, and so they realize that when that fails, they're done. The same thing with this gal here.
She ugly, I said, bitch, where? She said, under all that makeup, I said. Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
Now the fact is, this girl's not a hag. She's not unattractive, but this is the representation of what the woman gives the world. It's with the well-done eyebrows. It's with the ton of makeup. It's with the fake bleach blonde hair. It's with the filters. And her window to the world is on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and Twitter and the dating apps. This is the representation that she puts out to the world. And men say thirsty things to her, and men pay attention to her, and men ask her out based on this appearance. Why doesn't she show this appearance? Because this is who she really is. Because she doesn't like how she looks. Because these women come out with these filters, and well, not the women put them out, but women use the filters. Women have exaggerated their looks to the point where a girl like this is, to the right group of guys, she's mid, she's average, she's the girl next door. This is actually, there's a lot of guys that would be happy to date a girl that's just kind of plain Jane and mousy and the girl next door. But this is the type of look that probably gets the attention of guys that have a little bit of money, guys that are a bit of players. They take this home from the club. This is who they sleep with. This is who they hook up with. But they don't end up wanting to date this. So this is who she is. So if that's your value to men, then of course men are not going to want you that if you look like this and you're 35. She won't even look this good at 35. And women are realizing it. As much as women say, respect me and be traditional with me and I want height and looks and attraction and the tingles, and you have to have muscles, and they know it's not going to go the other way around. That the guy that they do want will look at this and say, hey, you know what? Go ahead and put on your makeup.
She said,
Let me pause that there. Go ahead and put on your makeup. I want you to look like this when I take you out on Friday night. So she puts on all this. They go out, they have a good time. He drops her off at the house. And then she's sitting like this the next day at the house all alone, wondering why she can't get a boyfriend. Why she has to dress like this and put all the thirst stuff on the social media to get any attention. She realizes that her time as a desirable woman will be coming to an end. But she can't help, and none of these women can help acting the way that they are. This gal is another example. This is the last, these last two videos are the last two I have before I read the article. She's a perfect example. The eyebrows, got the fake lashes, got lots of the foundation. And she's wondering why men don't approach anymore. Why don't men respect women? Why are men emotional? Why are men all the things?
Someone to let me know if I am the only one that has noticed that men are not like how they were when our parents were growing up. Like, I grew up, I don't know if it's because like the Italian values or what, like I grew up like the man is supposed to take care of the woman. The man is supposed to go up to the girls. Like the man is supposed to have drive and initiate everything. Like I feel like now it's so hard to find guys that like even just in general have drive in life. Like I feel like it's so different, and I don't know, like I personally never get approached. I never. Maybe something's wrong with me. I don't know. But like I feel like then like whenever I like talk about it, everyone's like, oh well, they want the girl to like go up to them. Like what?
This is they cause their own problems, take zero accountability for the problems. This woman very clearly is of the mindset that if a man that looks like me, a man that looks like probably a lot of you, walked up to her. Now, granted, I'm well advanced in her years, but even in my heyday as a 25 or a 30-year-old dude, I probably would walk up to a girl like this and chat her up a little bit, and she would say, ew, get away from me, creep. She is approached. People do approach her, but it's not the men that she wants. They categorize it as all men. It's not the men that she wants. The men that she wants, they have so many women. They have so much going on. They don't want to be bothered approaching somebody because all he has to do is swipe on Tinder and he's going to get a ton of matches and a ton of hookups. And then she complains about, well, where's men's initiative? Where's the drive to better themselves? Where's men with the money and the wanting to hit the gym and wine and dine and attract us ladies? those men aren't around anymore. Or if they're around, they're doing their own thing for their own happiness, and they're not living their lives to attract women. They're not living their lives to go out of their way to make a good life for her. Why? Because of women like this. Because of the women that are posting themselves doing the horrible things. Because of the women on OnlyFools. Because of the women on Instagram and Reddit, where they'll literally show you everything, including where the sun doesn't shine, and they get 4 likes. And when you're on a subreddit that has 1.3, and I'm not going to mention what they are, you can find them yourselves. It does include the letters NSFW in most cases. When you go to those Reddits and you see women posting something to a subreddit that has 103 or 1.3, 1.4 million Redditors that are subscribed to it, and she gets 4 likes. And if you click on the profile, you can go find, and because I've done this, because I look for these things so I can talk about them, because I want to know what is going on with society. And when you click, because these are not, a lot of these are not attractive women. It would not be the type that you would go and try to search for more things to look at. But if you click on their username, it shows all their posts. You can go back for a year and see them posting 4 likes, 8 likes, 6 likes, 2 likes. They haven't even broken double digits, but they keep doubling down and posting more and more risque photos to get just the most little attention. Why are they doing this? What is driving the need? Because they've been told by social media and all the things that you're beautiful just the way you are and you're desirable. And they probably have guys that have a couple of drinks too many that take them home because that's an easy fish to catch. And then they sit at home lonely wondering why no men want them. When you've got a dating market like this, and you keep shaming men for having standards, but you keep praising women for doing all the crazy things, men are just eventually going to tap out. The average guy is going to tap out. He's not going to participate anymore because he doesn't like the leftover dregs that he's been given. And the other guys, the guys that she actually wants that don't approach her, they got too much going on. My father had a reason to go get a job, and a good job, and ask for raises, and to work harder, to provide for a family, to provide for my mom, his wife, that appreciated him for that work. For us kids that appreciated him for giving us a good home and good opportunities. You know, for him teaching us valuable lessons. What's your average guy today? Why is he going to work hard? Why is he going to go out of his way to provide for a woman like this? What's the point? She doesn't want kids. She probably already yeeted 3 of them, or she's got them from other dudes. Why is a guy going to be motivated to better himself for that? Why is a guy going to work hard or have the traditional family? Those guys don't exist anymore because you're not a traditional woman. You don't bring those values anymore. So guys have said, you know, they don't value the traditional stuff. I'm just going to be a player. I'm going to be a pig. And apparently, again, if you ask this gal right here, apparently being a pig gets you somewhere. 2 of them shared this lady in the same night, and all they were doing is their Uber stuff. That's where the traditional men are, the men with drive and the go-get-it attitude. They have nothing to drive for anymore. They're gonna get in a comfortable place in their life, taking care of themselves, hanging out with friends, maybe, I don't know, playing video games or belonging to a pool league or a dart league or something like that, and they're good to go. Of course, and the ones that do approach them, well, if he's not hot enough, he doesn't count.
When did this change? When did this change? Because I want a man. I don't want to be the man. Someone come up to me. Anyways, I just feel like there's no manly men. I just don't think so. I think every guy I've met is like honestly super emotional, and that's fine. Like, I'm all about feelings, whatever. Like, I'm an emotional person, so like that's okay. But I feel like it's definitely like sometimes worse than girls. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's crazy. Anyways, so if anyone knows if manly men still exist, let me know. Or if I'm the only one that thinks they don't. I don't know.
family men do still exist. She's not a family woman. She's a club thought. She's not a family woman. Look at the way she's dressed. She's got the hoop earrings, the tons of makeup. Now, I'm not saying that she's not family value type gal, but she's hitting the clubs. She's looking for players, and she slept with them and hooked up with them. I went to her. Now, believe it or not, this is the same girl. This is the same girl. And I'll pop out of this video and show you. This is the same girl. I don't know if this has music or not. It does. It's only 4 seconds long, so I think I can get away with this on YouTube. Listen, so she's complaining that there's no traditional men, no masculine men, no men that approach her. Okay, look how she's dressed. This is for a night out with the girls or club or whatever. She's got the tons of makeup, the very, very, very well manicured eyebrows, the fake lashes, all the things, the unnatural hair color that does. Since when did it become okay to have white bleached hair and dark brown / black eyebrows? That looks so stupid. This reminds me of the club Easy Girls back in my day when I was in the clubs, because you'd look and you'd be like, you got the fake blonde hair, and women say, how do you know? Because it doesn't match any other hair on your body. It looks stupid. Makes you look, well, actually, the Italian girls were back, at least in upstate New York where I grew up, the Italian girls were very, very big for going blonde, but still having very dark eyebrows. And she is Italian. So maybe this syncs up kind of well. This is the same girl in the previous video that was complaining about men not approaching. And here's a TikTok video she put up just a couple weeks ago. So she says, and now she doesn't say it, but it's a audio clip. Guys don't ask you out. Oh, they do. I just say no. And then it's tongue in cheek. Hee hee, I'm so funny. You can't complain about not being asked out. You can't complain about not being men not being interested in you. You can't complain about the way the dating market is. And then at the same token, you turn around and you say, well, I've got an attitude. And so when men ask me out, I say no. This is the same girl. And guys, she's got 627 followers, which is not many. But same as I always say, look at their TikTok. It's not them hanging out with a bunch of guys. It's not, or girls, or friends, or activities, or going out and having fun. It is their diary. Dear diary. Here's what's going on in my life, and it's just me. And it's just me by myself, all alone. Oh, here she's got a female friend. Oh, wait. Point of view, you come home to visit so your sister is your chauffeur because you have no car. I'm the queen. So her sister's giving her a ride. She doesn't even have a car of her own. But she's got plenty of time to sit on TikTok and complain about men and their relationships and their situations. And this one, she says, when you record all your friends' drunk moments, and it's literally dudes. This is, they demand to be, men ask us out and treat us well, and we're special and blah, 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 blah. And then out of the same mouth, they're out here going for likes and attention on social media, pretending like everything's great. Oh, when men don't ask me out, I tell them I don't want them. Well, you got it. You get exactly what you go for. This is, now, Nashville, Tennessee is relatively conservative when it comes to relationships, society, everything else, in relation to some of the bigger, left-leaning cities. It's still left comparatively to quiet rural areas of the country. But Nashville, I would say, for the size of the city, is more conservative than many other similarly sized cities. Doesn't mean that they're conservative, mind you. But this is, some girl posted this, and it says, what's dating like in Nashville? This is the bar on a Friday night. Now I'm going to play through this slowly because I really do want to analyze this. You've got an older gentleman and a woman here. So these two over here are sitting at their own table. They're not at the bar. They're having dinner. Let's scroll through here. Woman, 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 woman. Now there's two dudes here sitting together. These are two guys, and they're talking with each other. One's in he looks like he's in a suit because you can see the white collar tab there and his suit. So they probably just got off of work for a beer. Woman here. Keep scrolling past. Woman, 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 woman. And then she spins back. Woman. This looks like long blonde hair. And this looks like a dude right here. She's like, where are all the men? Where are all the guys? I'll tell you where they are. Top 10% on Twitter. They're not taking women out. They're doing dial a smash. You're hot, yep, whatever. Come on over, we'll hook up. Dial a smash. Or they're getting a quick coffee somewhere. He's not going to take her out for drinks and talk to her and get to know her and find her long-term dreams in life. He doesn't care. They're all on the dial a smash. Where's the rest of the guys? The rest of the guys don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be bothered with this anymore. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of their effort to jump through all these hoops to get a mid. The emoji she has here is like woman, 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 woman. Yeah. So what are the guys doing? They're hanging out with each other. Because at least they'll be appreciated. At least there, they'll have fun. At least there, they'll have a good conversation with somebody that actually cares about them, which is their friends, their guy friends. They're doing things together. The value that women used to bring was good conversation, and she's funny and she's interesting and you enjoy being with her and you find her attractive and maybe you find her sexy and maybe this is someone you want to share some time with. That's the value they used to bring. Now, warm body. Just a warm body. And if you say, well, you're wrong, there's lots of great women out there. I agree with you. There's lots of great women out there that are wonderful to date and are really worth putting your time into. Okay, where do you find them? 60 or 70% of all younger generations now, and even some of the older ones, are on dating apps. Personality doesn't shine through there for the girl or the guy. What shines through? Photos and a very brief description. It boils it down to the common denominator of looks. So that wonderful woman can't show anybody how wonderful she is. And the big reason why is because even if she's wonderful and she's got all these awesome things to offer a guy, she can't help but chase after the bad boy hot guys. She doesn't give the time of day to anybody else because she's been told she can have the best. So guys don't even bother going out anymore. And because women now feel like the only thing they bring to the table is their looks, because they've honed in on the guys that only care about looks, and the other guys that might care about them for more than their looks aren't in the dating market anymore because they're ignored on the apps and they're shot down when they try in person and then they're roasted or shamed online. Those guys say, I'm not even putting effort in anymore. And so the bifurcation is complete. That thin sliver of dudes that get all the market, all the fun, all the play, but treat women like crap because they don't care, because they're just a hit it and quit it. And a huge segment of men that say, I would treat a woman awesome and I would like a good girlfriend and I'd respect them and I'd be nice to them, but they either tap out because they're shamed, they're roasted, they don't get any attention on social media or the dating apps, or they don't want a woman with an incredibly high body count that's now just wants to settle at the age of 35. This is just from a couple days ago from the New York Post. Gen Z paralyzed with fear of turning 30. Becoming unattractive hags, life might as well end at 22. I don't know if this is cringe music or if this is actually a discussion. Is it muted? Yes.
I have a core.
Okay. This is, I have a nomadic life and eat roadkill because I don't want animals to die in vain. Okay. Good job, lady. Age before beauty? Absolutely not. 30, flirty, and thriving is apparently no longer the holy grail for teens and 20-somethings online. Those born between 1997 and 2013 are expressing grim concerns about hitting the big 3-0. a milestone that some of those youngsters fear will immediately zap them of their sexiness, their stamina, and their overall value. Why do they think this? Why do they think this? Because what men's communities have been talking about, what conservative people have been talking about, and what the Andrew Tates, whether you like him or not, what the Andrew Tates and the other men's communities are telling women is that when you get to 30 or 35 and you haven't found a man, your best years are behind you. Someone younger and prettier and more energetic and with less damage and with less baggage and with less kids from other fathers and from less body counts, they're going to replace you. And so the women say, well, once I'm at 30, it's over. If they could pause for just a minute and say, unless I keep my body count low or zero, I meet the right guy in my younger years, I commit to him, I become a little bit more conservative, I'm not all the crazy and the baggage and the baby daddies and all this drama, then I will provide value to a man and I'll be fine for the rest of my life because I'll be valuable to him in other ways because I can cook and I'll take care of the home and I'll be a good mom and I'll give him the children he loves and all the things that a good family provides. That would be the thinking if you're smart, if you pay attention to what's going on in the world, if you actually listen to what men are saying that they want. But they can't do that because that goes against the messaging that has been programmed in their little tiny brains since they were kids by feminism and all this other stuff, that you can do whatever you want for as long as you want until they see the 35-year-old women struggling and suffering and being single moms and all the things. And they seem to be in a place where they realize, okay, I'm young and hot and I can have all this fun, and then I'm a single mom or I'm undesirable, or because of my body count or baby daddy or drama, I'm undesirable. And they only see it in that binary without realizing there's a whole gray area in between of just find a good man and settle down and give him lots to offer. But women don't have anything to offer anymore other than their looks and their sexuality, and they admit it themselves. They say hold on.
English, do you speak it?
I have seen multiple Gen Zs, the vast majority women, on various platforms, including Reddit and Instagram, expressing a desire to be unalive in their 30s or when they reach 40 because they cannot handle the fact they will age and become unattractive or become hags. An alarmed whistleblower recently penned to Reddit's PSA thread. So somebody put this on Reddit and they're like, oh no, these women are talking about unaliving themselves because they're going to be hags at 30 or 40. And so we need to write about this in the New York Post. What about all the threads of the men that say, I just want a girlfriend, that I'm good, but I'm awkward, I'm shy, I just want any girlfriend. Like, I'm a nice guy. I'm a good guy. I would treat her well. I don't remember too many stories about that. As a matter of fact, those men get shamed. They get called losers or incels. Where's the story for that? Well, it doesn't exist because who cares? They're men. Who cares about what they think? They say some have even expressed not bothering with healthy eating habits, saving money, or planning on having careers because they feel so strongly about this, continued a scandalmonger, presumably a member of the Gen Z demographic. I don't think it's necessarily our fault, the insider continued, but I do see and recognize in myself a fear of aging, and instead of there being a psychological and social movement to combat this, we simply turn to consumerism to try to fix the problem. Okay, I don't think this is necessarily our fault, she says. It is. It is your fault. You go out, you have all the fun, you sleep with people that you shouldn't be sleeping with, that don't care about you, that will never care about you. You give away your best years to the players and the bad boys, and then they see nothing in the future because guys that would normally be blue-pilled guys that would pick up these used women, maybe with a single kid or a high body count in their 30s, and marry them and try to make an honest woman out of them, which you cannot. Those guys that used to do that don't anymore Those guys watch content like mine and others saying, you know something, we shouldn't have to put up with leftovers just because that's all that's available to us. I would rather just skip out completely. And again, if you're wondering how that works, look at singles night here in Nashville, where there's literally no men. They can't take advantage of men anymore. Because this has gotten into the zeitgeist. This is out there. They don't talk about the men struggling that can't date. They don't talk about the men that are good men that don't get any opportunity. But as soon as the women say, well, I'm just going to end it at 30 because nobody wants it anymore, national crisis. Let's start writing stories about this. Don't think that men don't see this as well. And of course, you won't take any accountability. It's not necessarily our fault. It is. Right here, this gal that you can definitely tell is a club girl. She's got I'm guessing probably the fake triple, double Ds or whatever. I'm 29. The fear of turning 30 is getting to me. I have no kids. I feel like I'm running out of time. I still don't have my life figured out. I'm missing something. Yeah. You're missing either a man, a family, a career, something to hang your hat on. She has nothing. She has the party girls that she goes out with. She has the dudes that she probably hooks up with. A fellow Gen Z named Gabriella echoed these the same sentiments in a separate post. What are you going to have when either your other friends are aging like you and you're worn out, triple-digit, quadruple-digit body counts by the time you get to 30? Because, again, this looks like a club girl if ever seen one. And the guys that they want to sleep with are now back with the new 20-somethings as they've aged out of the market. What's left for them? I guess they could all be friends with each other, but they don't have any hobbies. Most of them don't, other than makeup and drinking mimosas on Sunday. So what are they going to do together? Nothing. There's a whole lot of older, lonely, plasticky, former pretty women. The Reddit ranter went on to refer to the recent uptick in anti-aging products and trends, such as getting baby Botox and covering themselves with face tape. That they haven't been virally adopted by beauty buffs as young as age 10 who hope to ward off the wrinkles, lines, and sags. So now you've got young gals at the age of 10 that are already trying to keep themselves looking young. If you look at there was an actress, and I don't remember her name, and you don't have to bother putting it in the comments below, but if you look at Amazon's special, they have a show that they put out called The Boys. And there was a very petite, like thin, pretty, blonde, and I forget, her name was like, I don't know what it was. She wore a white glittery costume and she could shoot and like make electrical things blow up or whatever. I don't remember her name. But she was very pretty in season 1. In season 2, when I watched that show, I thought they replaced the actress with a new actress until she spoke. And then I said, oh, that's you're good, buddy. You're good. Until she spoke. And when she said something, I went, oh, that is the same actress. She had her cheeks hollowed out. She had lip filler. And now she did it again. And now she's got this gaunt, like, fake lipped. She looks horrible. And she was such a cute gal before. She looked like the girl next door, and now she looks like some hollowed out hooker from the 1980s. Like, I don't know why she did this, but she ruined herself. It's not men that are asking that to happen, because the guys are like, oh, don't do that. You look horrible now. The movement to remain forever young is being charged by both folks in their early 20s and teeny boppers on TikTok. On the Buzzy app, hashtags such as anti-aging with over 8 billion views, and Sephora Kids, a stamp with nearly 222 million views used by makeup lovers to gripe about the influx of elementary schoolers flocking to cosmetic shops for skin rejuvenators and collagen boosters that are all-time trending highs. And here's the thing, are the makeup companies going to say, oh, this is awful? Like, children don't need our product. No, they're probably going to cheer it on because it makes them more money. And you look at, I don't know what this girl's talking about, nor do I care. But you look at her and you can tell She's not old, but she's definitely had some fillers in her lips. You can definitely tell she's had the Botox in her forehead because her eyebrows are permanently surprised. Like, notice her eyebrows are not moving at all. Her eyebrows are frozen in this, like, surprised. And you can tell she's talking about her face sagging and everything else. Now she's talking about the skin around her neck. Look, if you had found a guy in your 20s before the triple-digit body counts and all that stuff, a husband would be like, honey, I love you. Even if you put on a couple extra pounds and you got those wrinkles, you're still beautiful to me. And of course, when she steps out of the shower, he'll probably try to rip her towel off and carry her into the bedroom, because that's usually what husbands do when they have wives that they love, that they can look past the new little wrinkle, because it's a slow process of aging together, that they still appreciate and love their women. But these women, when they go from guy to guy to guy to guy, all the men find is their looks, and all the women care about is guys' looks. Men, however, they don't lose their looks in the same way, and they continue to grow in value when women don't. She said, I wish I had started these simple, affordable things earlier, anti-aging. That's what the girl that was in this video was talking about. We need to do better for ourselves and for our younger generations, the anonymous mouthpiece implored on Reddit. Skincare should be something we do to prevent cancer and to make us feel good, not another tool to try to fit into a patriarchal mold. So they're blaming men for this. They're blaming men for this. Men are going to choose the best option they have available. In many cases, they're not choosing any options anymore. The bad boys that are good looking, that are athletic, with all the muscles, can choose whatever they want. That's who you're trying to improve yourself for, is those 5% of men. They don't care. The rest of the guys would say, I don't care if you have a couple of wrinkles or, you don't have a perfect body and all that. The problem is you're showing up with attitude, nothing else to offer, you're different baby daddies, and a body count. I'm not interested. And women have done it to themselves. They have sold themselves as basically either I don't want you or the men I want just use me. Women make this rule, not the men. And the folks of all ages eagerly agree that panic of getting older is getting out of hand. That's not men that are panicking for the most part, it's women. So much of my generation basically views life after college as one long, pointless, depressing downward slide into a nursing home and the end, wrote a fellow Gen Zer. In the minds of many young people, life might as well end at 22 because what comes after? Working nonstop, taxes, wrinkles, and health issues. Losing your hair and your friend network in your free time. It's a very dark and reductionist worldview, but it's definitely pervasive among Gen Z. A handful of millennials, Gen Xers, and boomers blame the internet for inciting the age phobia. I agree, actually. Dating apps are all about looks now, nothing else, both for men and for women. Social media and Instagram and photos, where you can doctor and put these filters on and everything. It's leading this unhealthy standard of everybody must be gorgeous. And if she's, you've seen these guys that post the pictures and like they circle things and earlobes this way and nose slope is not this way, and they put 6 out of 10 on a woman that's probably a 10 out of 10 with her makeup on, I will agree. Without her makeup, she might be a 7 out of 10. But, there is a point where it becomes almost funny. I've dated women in my life that I think people that were not in the relationship, meaning my friends or strangers, would probably look and say, she's kind of mid, dude. She's not that beautiful. But the difference is, it was what she brought other than her looks and the rest of it to the table. And I found that she was, some of them were fun to hang out with. We had good conversations. Maybe we could have some debates on things. We had likes and dislikes and similar and in common. And you could say, okay, I'm losing out on the looks, or maybe she's 10 pounds overweight or underweight. She's a little skinny or whatever, or she's, doesn't have a big chest, whatever. But she's got all these other things that I really like about her. That's part of the equation. But when it's taken out of the equation And women realize men just want to sleep with me because I sleep with them and they're hot, and I let them because I have a bunch of makeup on and I'm not really the real person I am. And if they saw me as the real person I am, they wouldn't want to sleep with me because I'm not super hot. Not realizing there's a whole lot of guys out there that would be like, I'm fine if you're not super hot, just be cool and maybe bring some traditional values to the relationships. All these women that are, after college, it's just a lifelong slide until you get into the grave. They're not thinking about children. They're not thinking about family. They're not thinking about a good husband. They're not thinking about maybe not working and maybe you're not living the glam lifestyle, but you'll have a man that'll bring home a paycheck and feed you and put a roof over your head and love you and want to give you the best, even if it's not the best. They've lost all that. It's not even in the conversation anymore. It's so far removed. This gal says 30 was always the year I put pressure on myself to be in the most secure place in my life. Yeah, but you're single. You don't have kids or a family. You're not going to find this safe, best place in your life, the most secure place in your life, if you're alone as a woman, because you're losing value. As a man, you're fine, because as you age and have longer experience in the work market and you have more things to offer an employer, you gain in value as a man where women don't. And they say, well, I'm gaining in value because I own my own home and I'm a much smarter person than I was. I'm a much smarter person in my 40s than I was in my 20s. Yeah, we don't care. And no matter how much they try to shame men into caring, we won't. They say, I work with some Gen Zs and they have a very warped downward view on what it's like to be in your 30s before they met me and other millennials at my work. I think social media is really screwed with our heads, a commenter chimed. People who glorify being in your 20s way too much. Ultimately, it's just one decade and it doesn't last long, wrote another. It feels more like a quarter-life crisis about mortality and facing a new part of your life. I freaked out about that too when I neared 25, but I didn't have as pervasive a social media culture drumming that into me, said an equally miffed user. I feel like aging to Gen Z is what being fat was to millennials. Remember how ruthless the media and everyone was about that. Really? Millennials are the ones that came out with everybody's beautiful no matter what their size. They weren't being shamed for their weight. You want to talk about being shamed for their weight? Come with me back to the 1980s and 1990s. There were a couple of big girls and a couple of big dudes in high school. Other than that, people worked out, people watched what they ate, people wanted to look and feel good. So millennials, they brought the everybody's beautiful at any size. How's that working out for them? So what are they going to do? Now they're going to come out and they're going to say, oh, anti-aging, don't shame women for their age or their looks. We have to get off this anti-aging shaming thing. Who's doing the shaming? It's not men. Now, men's choices mean that they choose younger, prettier women, but it's not the average guy because he's like, I'm not even talking to women. I don't even bother anymore, so it's not me. But of course, they're going to blame it on men. Mark my words. They say, however, for some 30-year-olds to be, their worries about becoming a decade older aren't rooted in angst around losing their looks. Instead, they feel intimidated by the pressures of adulthood. Here's why I'm so scared to turn 30 this year, confessed New York City influencer Nicole Ashley to a TikTok audience of over 29,000. I think I grew up thinking that before 30, I had to get my crap together. I had to have a great job, the most perfect relationship, and children. I had to have it all together. And that's honestly just not the case. No, so what does she have instead? She's an influencer. I don't know if she has a great job or not, but you don't have a great relationship. You don't have the kids. You don't have it all together. You can't have it all. There's not enough time in the world to have it all. She says, or someone else says, a fellow Gen Z named Gabriella echoed these sentiments in a separate post, writing in the closed captions, I'm 29, the fear of 30 is getting to me. I have no kids. I feel like I'm running out of time. I still don't have my life figured out. Exactly. And this is her. Now look, there are men that would look at her. Now, maybe it's not us. Maybe it's not you. But there are guys that would look at this and say, you know what? She's cute enough, Like if she was nice and wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and raise a family, and she respected me and treated me well, and gave up the booty whenever I wanted, there are guys that'd be like, yeah, like as long as she didn't get too heavy or whatever and was respectful, I'd be down with that. But they're not, and they turn right around and they blame men for it. They blame men. They're the ones that are saying my only value is what I bring in the bedroom, or all these. They're the ones doing it. But ladies online who've already reached 30 and beyond are urging their successors not to freak out. Another woman says, I'm in my mid-30s. I stress about my birthday every year. Admitted New York City beauty influencer Ivanka whatever in a confessional clip. Like, oh my God, another year older. I should be at this place in my life. I don't yet have a house or kids. That's a New York City beauty influencer. Of course she's worried. But it's a privilege to live another year. It's a privilege to live another day, and it's a privilege to be alive. Life is precious. I agree with her with that one. But when women state that my value is my looks and sleeping with dudes and getting the hottest dudes to sleep with me, and I get all the matches on Instagram or on Twitter, Tinder, I get all the matches, but I got to dress like this and act like a, easy gal, or I do make my money on the only fools. Yes, your value is tied to your looks, but they will go. So you better learn how to cook. You better learn how to be nice to guys. You better learn how to keep the body count down and be good and be a traditional woman. Because a traditional woman will have no problems finding a guy if she can bypass the top 5 or 10% in looks. She'll find a hardworking guy that'll make a wife of her, put a roof over her head. She doesn't have to worry about taxes or work or any of that stuff. She'll be taken care of, and he will love her and care for her and support her. But he's not the guy on the dating apps. He's not the guy with 16 different choices on a Friday night. He's the guy that would feel lucky to have an average girl because he's an average guy, and he'd treat her well. But those men are still invisible to these women. And then as these men grow and become more successful and become a bigger value to society, the women fall off. That's why you got to find a good man when you're younger, ladies. And he will, if he's a good man, he will cherish and love her and treat her well forever. But with divorce statistics and all the other things, women are their own worst enemies. Said it before, say it again. Every time this stuff starts falling apart, it's because women decided we're going to go crazy with this stuff. And then when they start to struggle, who do they blame? Men. All men. For what 5% of men and 90% of women are doing. Go figure it out. Guys, if you're just here on YouTube, make sure to jump over to betterbachelor.locals.com. We have such a great community over there. I've got a gilded server. There's about 550 guys that are signed up on that. We're not all online. There's about 50 online at any one time. But we got chat rooms. We've got game servers, so you can hop in a game and play and talk to other people of the same game while you're doing that. We're having conversations. We've also got on Locals itself, I do movie night. I do some sports ball. We do live streams over there. Great, great, great community of guys. To become a supporter, it's like $5 a month. I haven't even increased the cost because of inflation. So you too can have a great community of like-minded men to join and talk about the world for half the price of a stupid Starbucks coffee now. It's going to get cheaper and cheaper. All right, guys, we will leave it there. I will see you in the next one.